We have learned that democracy is a form of government in which people elect their rulers. Now the question is, who become the rulers? Who are the people who elect the rulers and how? How do we ensure that the rulers work for the benefit of the people's welfare? So now we will answer all of these questions, and as we answer each of these questions, we will also come across a new feature of democracy. So let us start with the features of democracy. Feature number 1. Decision-making power should rest with the people. That means the rulers elected by the people must take all major decisions. Let us take the example of Pakistan under General Musharraf. In 1999, General Musharraf overthrew the existing democratic government and declared himself as the chief executive of the country. Later, he called himself the President of Pakistan. In 2002, he did a referendum, that is like a general voting, where he got people's support and his tenure got continued for few more years. However, it is said that the referendum was backed by fraud and malpractices. Elections happened in Pakistan. Elected representatives also came to power, but the final power to take decisions rested with Musharraf and the military. So would you call Pakistan under Musharraf a democracy? No, because even though elections took place in Pakistan, but the elected representatives did not have the power, because the power still rested with Musharraf and the military. So therefore, this is not an ideal example of democracy. In a democracy, the final decision-making power must lie with the elected representatives who have been elected by the people of the country. Feature number 2. Free and fair election that offer a fair choice to people to change their current rulers. Let's talk about China. In China, elections happen every 5 years to elect the parliament, and the parliament appoints the president. The parliament has more than 3,000 members, some of which are elected by the army. Anyone who wants to contest in elections need to get an approval from the Chinese Communist Party. Also, he either needs to be a member of the Communist Party or an alliance party. Now, do you think this is an example of democracy? No, because in this case, people do not have choices at all. So there are no other choice than the Chinese Communist Party, because anybody who is contesting election is either a member of that party or is getting approval from that party. So in any case, every time the same party, the ruling party, would win. So therefore, this is not an example of democracy. Let's now talk about Mexico. In Mexico, elections take place every 6 years to elect the president. Until the year 2000, every election was won by a party called PRI. Now that's little strange that a single party won election year after year. So how could that happen? It could be either because the party was performing extraordinarily well, or there is something wrong behind it. Now this party PRI spent huge amount of money in election campaign. Media discussed only about PRI and always criticized other political parties. Not only that, the government officials in Mexico attended the party meetings, and in fact the government employees forced other people to vote for PRI. For example, the government school teachers often forced parents to vote for PRI. So because of all these malpractices and unfair means, it always ended up that PRI won elections in spite of the presence of other political parties in the country. So do you think this is democracy? No, because in this case, even though people have choices because there are multiple political parties, but still due to unfair election, the other parties could never win. In a democracy, it is important that elections do not happen just for the sake of it. Elections should be conducted in a free and fair way. At the same time, elections should offer some real choices for people to choose from. Feature number 3. Each individual has one vote and each vote has the same value. In a democracy, it is important that every adult citizen has the right to vote, and every vote should have the same value irrespective of any parameter. Let's talk about Saudi Arabia. Until 2005, women in Saudi Arabia did not have the right to vote. If you talk about Fiji, in Fiji, the indigenous Fiji who naturally originated from Fiji, their vote have more value when compared to the Indian origin Fiji. So do you think these are examples of democracy? No, because in a democracy, irrespective of the country of origin, irrespective of the gender, every citizen of the country should have the right to vote, and every vote should have the same value. Feature number 4. Government must rule within limits set by the Constitution. Does it mean that a ruler elected by the people can do whatever he or she wants? Absolutely not. The government must follow certain rules which have been put into place by the Constitution. The government just cannot do anything just because they won the elections. So they need to follow certain rules, like they need to protect the rights of the citizens of the country. They need to respect the presence of opposition parties. They also need to respect the promises that they made before election and execute them post-election win. All these limitations are put by the Constitution. The Constitution also ensures that everybody is equal before the law, and that is why an independent and powerful judiciary system has been put into place. Even if the government does something which is not correct or which is illegal or unfair, the judiciary can take an action against the government. Why setting limits is important? Else, the ruling party or the party in power might misuse its power. Let's talk about Zimbabwe. Since its independence in 1980, a single party ruled in Zimbabwe. President Mugabe ruled the country. See how Mugabe misused his power. He changed the constitution to increase the powers of the president. He declared public protests illegal. All independent journalists who wrote against the president were tortured and punished. He controlled the TV and media so that they all published what the president wanted. The judges of the courts were even pressurized to get desired judgments out of them. Mugabe was finally forced out of his office in 2017. So this is an example where we see that it is important to put certain limitations on the government so that they do not end up misusing their power. So we see that democracy has some very important features which actually define the presence of democracy in any government or in any country. So I hope you found this video useful on democracy features. So see you all in the next video with a new topic.